So as mentioned before, my name is Emma and I'm part of the student recruitment and engagement team. And I was just going to start off this session by talking through a few different areas about how to make the most of your summer. Obviously, it's a time to enjoy yourself, to relax, connect with friends, but it's also a time that you can really make use of. And we'll talk through some of the different ways in which you can do that. So these are the different areas that we'll cover. And hopefully afterwards, if you make it through this part of the presentation, you'll hear from the actual ambassadors who have had the real life experience of making use of their summer. So they'll give some more sort of practical and real life experiences. As mentioned, if you do have any questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll get back to them at the end of the session. So yeah, please feel free to do that as we go along. So we'll just jump straight into it. The first area that we're going to look at is using your summertime to do a little bit of research into your options. If you don't get your the requirements for the degree you are applying for, it's not the end of your university journey. There are alternative options. And I did mention before that students can apply to a different course, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a course in a completely different field. So these are some options again to research and to look into now that might come in useful on results day. So the first one being foundation years. So a foundation year is kind of like a stepping stone onto a university undergraduate degree. So it gives you all the basic skills and knowledge that you would need to go and study that course at a degree level afterwards, and it kind of eases you into university life a little bit. They tend to have lower entry requirements than an undergraduate degree, so it's worth checking if your course does have a foundation year, and that might be something that you could fall back on. You can also apply to an integrated foundation degree, so that means you would do the foundation year and then automatically continue on to your undergraduate degree. Then similarly, they have HNCs and HNDs available. So a HNC is usually delivered at a further education college, and that would be the equivalent of a first year of an undergraduate degree. And a HND is the equivalent of a second year of a university degree. After you've done your HND, you can do a top-up course as well, which would leave you with the equivalent of a whole degree. So have a little look into these options. It's worth just knowing a little bit about it in advance, and that way you can, on the day, you're not sort of completely in the dark. So we'll move away from results day and the sort of research side of things now, and jump a bit more into some of the useful things that you can be doing across the whole of the summer to prepare yourself for university and just make the most of the time. And so one area is, of course, making yourself more hirable. How can you develop the skills and experiences that's going to allow you to get work experience, apply for jobs, and just sort of kickstart your career journey? So the first thing that you might want to spend some time doing is creating a CV. If you're planning on getting part-time work while you're at university, or if you're planning on sort of getting any work placements, any work experience, often they'll require a CV. So it's a good idea to give a bit of time to sort of compiling your CV. You might already have one, but you probably are going to be wanting to update it and make sure that it's really strong. In terms of what you can put on your CV, so this is the place for you to list all of your work experience, volunteering experience, any placements that you've done. If you're thinking to yourself, I haven't done anything like that, there will be things that you can draw on. Think about what you've done in school, for example, even if it was you leading a group project or sports teams that you were involved with. There will be things that you'll have done in school or college that you can sort of draw on and list the skills that you developed through that. If it's still looking a little bit empty, the summer now is a time to develop some of those skills, to gain some of those experiences that can sort of bulk up your CV and can make it look a bit stronger. So we'll have a little look into some of those things in a minute. Once you've got all these different skills and activities that you've got listed, yeah, there are so many different resources online to help you to compile those and how to structure them and how to present them in a CV. So we do have some tools ourselves at BCU. If you go onto our resource hub, there are materials there to help you create a CV. And this is really like a working document. So you're going to be adding to it, updating it, changing it throughout your professional life. But it's a good idea to have a really strong template ready for you. I think I made my one around a similar time when I was about to start university, and I've sort of built on it since then, but still using that original template. So give some time to doing that this summer, and you'll be thankful later when you don't have to suddenly rush to scramble a CV together when you need one. So as well as a CV, there are lots of online platforms for you to sort of connect and start building your professional career. But one thing to note when we're talking about social media and online presence is your own personal social media accounts. And you are sort of, when you start university, in some ways, it's the beginning of your professional life. Although university itself, you're still a student, you're still in education. It is a place where you perhaps are connecting to professionals, you might be doing placements, and eventually you're going to be applying to jobs. So have a think about your social media accounts at the moment, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and how they reflect you as a person. Even, are they private? What do you have posted on there? If somebody did a Google search of you, what would come up? And would you be happy for potential employers to be seeing that? A really important thing to bear in mind. So you might want to spend some time this summer doing a little bit of a social media cleanse and just make sure that you're happy with what you've got out there on the internet. So as well as your own accounts, there are lots of different social media accounts connected to the university and many different universities across the UK. And these are a great way to connect with other people who are going to be studying at the same time as you. So you might want to spend some time having a look on Facebook for the different Facebook groups that have been formed to meet students that will be starting on the same course as you. You can also find groups to find your flatmates that you'll be living with. And it's a really good chance to kind of get to know some names, some faces before starting in September. Even maybe coordinate who's going to be bringing what to the flat and things like that. Just a note of caution there, make sure you try to use the platforms that are kind of connected to the university and the more official pages, because obviously there is a lot out there. So just be wary of which groups you're joining and that they are actually sort of the correct ones. As well as that, you can follow the actual university accounts. So we have accounts IMBCU for on Instagram and Twitter, and this is where they'll be posting all kinds of information and sort of keeping you up to date along the summer as to what's happening, reminding you of those key dates and what will be going on. So that might be a good idea just to sort of keep you connected over the summer. So lastly, on this topic, we have, we talked a bit about CVs and your sort of physical document to show your experiences and what you've been doing. You might already have started this or heard about it, but something you could look into is a LinkedIn profile. So this is like an online CV, and you pretty much upload all the information that is on your CV onto your LinkedIn profile. And it's a great place to connect with different businesses and organizations that you might be interested in. You can also connect to other professionals, have a look at people who are doing jobs that you're potentially looking towards doing. And they also have so many different online training courses and things like that. So getting yourself set up on LinkedIn over the summer would be a really good idea, and definitely a good use of your time. Okay, so we mentioned something that you might be wanting to list on your CV is part-time work. And getting a part-time job, if you can get one over the summer, is obviously a really, really good use of time. you're gaining skills, transferable skills, you're gaining experience. It's something that you can list on your CV, but you're also earning some money, so that's never a bad thing. A lot of students tend to work in retail or hospitality sectors. There are opportunities once you start at university to actually get part-time work at the university itself, but this is something that maybe you can try to get over this summer now, just to develop some skills and also add some structure. Obviously, when you start in September, you're going to be in a bit more of a structured pattern. So since the summer is very open at the moment, having some work is going to sort of get you back into that rhythm itself. If you can get work related to your future field, then obviously that's really good. But even if you can't, it's still worthwhile doing. There's transferable skills that you're going to be able to link to your course, to your future work. So any kind of work is definitely going to be useful. If these jobs have interviews as well, that's actually something that's really going to benefit you. It might not feel like it, but getting any kind of interview experience at this stage is really, really helpful, because you are going to have to go on and do interviews later on. So being able to have already had some experience is going to be something that's really going to help you out. So as well as actual paid work, another thing that you are going to want to perhaps look into is some work experience or volunteering opportunities. So some courses actually require you to have work experience in order to gain a place. So you might have been aware of that for your particular course. Even if your course doesn't ask for that, having work experience is going to really make you stand out. It's going to give you those transferable skills that are directly relevant, but it will also help you sort of get first-hand experience and decide and be sure that that is the area and the field that you want to be going into. So it's definitely worthwhile. I know that obviously it's not something that you're getting money for, but it's, as I say, it's going to pay off in terms of putting you in a good position for your future. So have a little look for any volunteering opportunities. There may be virtual opportunities on offer, which can be perhaps a bit more convenient and flexible. And at the end of the day, as well as all of these personal benefits, it's also something really good to do, as you're going to be giving back to the community. You can sort of put your efforts into a cause that you've chosen, that you're passionate about. So that's always going to be something that's worthwhile doing.